Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to take a look at working with files with Python. Let's go ahead and get started with Python 3, a brand new notebook. And I'm going to call this one 016 files. So some notes here. We could use the open method to open and work with files. As an example, I can create a file variable is equal to open presidents.txt for reading purposes. That's the file mode. There are additional modes that you need to be aware of. So for text, we have R, W, and A for read, write, and append. For binary, we have RB, read binary, WB, write binary, and AB for append binary. We have a couple of additional ones too. For text, I want to mention those. Those are R plus and A plus. R plus is different from R because R plus opens a file for both reading and writing, and A plus is different from A because it opens it for both reading and writing to that file. So if you want to use one of those options are available. Now if I were to shift enter this gives me an error message because this particular file does not exist. I could go ahead and, for instance, put W here and do a shift enter. And you notice that it's perfectly fine because at this point the file wasn't there, it actually creates it. Let's go and look at our directory and see if we see that, and there it is, presidents.txt, and of course it's currently completely empty. Suppose I create a list. P is equal to, I'm putting some presidents in here, Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams again, Jackson, let's say Van Buren, and Polk. So I have a list, and I can loop over this list. I can say for P or president in P, print president. And there they are. What I can do is I can attempt to write these presidents to a file if I wanted to. So let's see how that is done. We have our open handle F right here, the file handle available for writing to a file. So what I can simply do is come over here and say, you know what, for president in P, our list, take the file and call the write method and pass to it president. Then outside of the loop, I'm going to take the file and close it. All right, let's see why we got this error message. Because, well, let me do this again. Let me do that, do that, do that, and do that. There you go. Not quite sure what happened that the file said it was unwritable, but it should have taken care of it. Let's go ahead and look at this manually. So I'm going to go to where I've saved this, which is under my Python folder here. And there it is. If I open it up, it looks like this. It basically wrote everything on a single line, as you can see. That's what we told it to do. That's what it did. Now, if I were to go and repeat this for loop, first and foremost, I do need to open the file again. So I'm going to open that for, let's say I want to open it for reading and writing. So R plus. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for president P, f.write president, and I will also add a line break, which I can do by using the \n and then close it. Now that I've done that, let's manually take a look at it. And I can see that they show up like that, which is beautiful. Can I go back in and read this stuff in? And the answer, of course, is yes. I can do this file, open. And just so I've covered this, also I'll do it for reading only. And I'm going to do the for loop for president in, this time I'm going to say for president in F, because I'm reading from the file. I'm not writing to it. In F, I'm going to print the president. And you can see that it printed out the presidents, but you also notice there's this extra space in there. That's because the print statement itself adds a line break at the end of everything that after it prints every single item. So what I could do is I could fix that by telling it, no, you know, I don't want you to end this with a line break. I want to end this with nothing in this case. And because the president is there's a line break in the file already, we no longer have to worry about the extra line break here. Now nothing showed up here. Let me go ahead and close this, f.close, and then open it back up and then run this, and you can see it shows up. The reason nothing showed up, and this is an important point here, is because the pointer that moves along the file to using the for loop reached the end, and when I ran the for loop again, the pointer was at the very end. It had not moved to the beginning automatically. So I closed the file, reopened it, that resets the pointer, and it brings it back up. Let me go ahead and close this file again. Another way to open a file, which is the preferred way, another way to open a file which automatically closes it, is using with context manager. Let me put this in double quotes. We will have a separate video on this stuff, but for the time being, just accept it as how it's used. The way you do that, you say with open, let's say presidents.txt for reading as F. So this is more or less the equivalent of saying F is equal to open presidents.txt, etc. And then, as part of this, what do you want to do with it once you've opened it? Notice the indentation. So I can write my code right here. I can say for P in F, print P and end with nothing. And let's do a line break here. And then outside of the with, I'm going to type in print. The file is now closed. And check it out, it did everything for us. It opened the file, closed the file, beautiful. Just using the with context manager. So you're going to see this quite a bit in Python code. We'll see it in other contexts as well. Okay. We can verify that it is closed in case you maybe doubt it. Print F closed. And this returns true, so we can see that it is closed. And we also print f.mode if you wanted to, and it is we open it up for read-only mode at this point. Okay. One of the things we can do with text files in particular is to use the readlines method, and it is readlines with an S. So let's take a look at that. Readlines returns a list, and it's important to understand it is a list of values. So if I were to do with open presidents.txt for reading, as f, and I can say f underscore contents is equal to f dot read lines. That reads everything, and I can go ahead and print that content, f underscore contents. Notice that the line breaks are included, and notice that this is in fact a list that we are dealing with. So I could go in there and do something such as f contents. Remember that Python is 0 based, so Washington is 0, Adams is 1, Jefferson is 2. This prints out Jefferson with the line break. Let's go ahead and take a look at this again. I'm going to say with open, and I'm glad that they have this, so I don't have to worry about closing this file constantly. So president.txt for reading purposes as f, and I'm going to do f contents is equal to f dot read lines. So far nothing different. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a list, an empty list. I'm going to create p underscore contents and set that equal to an empty list. I'm going to do a loop for p in f underscore contents, which is that list. I can call p and set it equal to p dot strip, which is a method in Python that strips white spaces, line breaks included, from before and after the string. And I'm going to take p and call the append method, or p contents I should say, and call the append method and append p to it. Finally, outside of the for loop, I'm going to call print p underscore contents. And notice that the line breaks were stripped from this. It's important to understand that there is also read line method without the s that reads the first line. So if I were to take this this code that I have up here, copy that, paste it here, and change this to read line without the s reads the first line, you can see that only Washington was returned. Okay. We can also read a specified size, and this is done in bytes. So if I were to paste this code back in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say not read lines, but just read. Now, if you just say read without anything, you get everything. Everything comes back. So keep that in mind. But what I can do is I can go in here and put in read, and let's say I read 12 characters. I notice it returned Washington and the line break and the first letter of Adams. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The line break 11 and A is 12. So we got that. We also have the option of specifying a location. So specifying a location to seek. And the function is literally called seek. I can do with open presidents for read mode as f, and I'm going to do f.seek, let's say position 12. So that's going to sit right on top of the A, now that we know where it is. F underscore contents is going to be f.read, let's say 21 characters from there, and print f underscore contents. Notice it read Adams, Jefferson, and Madison's, part of Madison's name, Mattis, as you can see. We also have the option of course, reading in binary files, image files, if you will. Now for this one, I need to have an image, and I believe that I do have some images sitting over here under 013 image. Let me get a smaller image. I have this 400, and I'm going to, it's a little bit clumsy to try to copy stuff here. I'm going to go and get a smaller image, so it's not too big. So this one is what I'm going to copy and dump it inside of the folder right here. And I'll just call this, whoops, I didn't mean to open it. I'm just going to call this Disney. And it is a JPEG file. I'm not sure if it's a JPEG file or a JPG file, but we'll find out. It's not a problem. So I have a little file now that I can read. Let me put reading binary files. We use the same with context manager. So I'm going to say with open disney.jpg. And for reading a binary file. And it's important that you put that in there, otherwise it assumes it's a text file. I'm going to say f.seek, let's say 11, and f_contents is equal to f.read 23 pieces. The output is going to be a bit unexpected. It basically puts out the hexadecimal values of that JPEG file. What if I want to know, now we can't read this entire file and write it if we wanted to. We have that option. Let's actually do that, although this wasn't part of the lesson I was hoping to show you. Let's do file copy. So I'm going to read this disney.jpg, and I will not put seek in there. I basically let this read the entire thing. I don't need to print it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, once I have that, I'm going to come down here, and just so it's clear, I'm going to say with open, let's say mouse.jpg, and we're going to do this for writing binary as O for output. And I'm going to basically say O.write f_contents. Okay, let's do a shift enter. Now let's verify that we have this. If I go back to my Python folder, there is the mouse, there is Disney. I'll double click mouse to open it. You can see it's the same exact picture. I read the entire content from Disney, and I wrote the entire content into a file mouse. Recall that when you open a file that doesn't exist for write or mode for writing mode, the file will be created. That is not the case if you're reading it. You will get an error message for that one. So I just wanted you to see that this is basically how a copy works in operating systems. It reads the content and writes it to another file. So if we don't know how big the file is, we could read the entire thing like this, or we could read it piece by piece if we wanted to. Okay, that's another option. Let's take a look at that. What if we don't know how large the file is? I can create a variable called size to read and set this equal to 10. 10 is fine for our example. And this is in bytes always. It's not kilobytes or anything. So I'm going to say with open, and I'll deal with the presidents.txt for reading purposes as f. I'm going to let f_contents be equal to f.read the size to read. So it's going to read 10 bytes. Then I can write this back. So while the length of f_contents is greater than 0, so we have something, we can print f_contents and end with nothing. f_contents is going to be equal to f.read another 10 bytes. And this is going to give us the same exact result. You may be wondering, what's the point of this whole complex code when we have such easier methods? And the point is that if I want to read a very large file, reading it all at once might be impractical. It might be too much for the operating system or the memory, etc. Now you don't necessarily read it 10 bytes at a time, but you could read it, 1 meg or 10 meg at a time and write it to a destination. So you can do this in a more controlled setting, an environment. So we have that option. That's the whole idea. Okay. Let's take a look at viewing where we are. So I'm going to copy and paste this code right here. And what I can do is, as we're going through this, I can print some stuff to see where the heck I am. So in the while loop, before I have this, I can say print convert to string or cast into string f underscore contents. I'm sorry, not that. To string f dot tell, like that. And then do shift enter. Oops. Okay, so it didn't like the fact that I used tell in this manner. Let me go ahead and fix it. I need to go back in here and put in my open close parentheses. It actually calls the function, and there we are. So first of all, you see where we are in the memory, the location, and then it tells you over here for each of these basically where we're located as far as the position as the marker is moving 10 pieces at a time. So Washington was 10 characters, and it tells you what position you're in. And then Adams, Jefferson, we're at 33, etc. So it gives you a little bit of information. I'm not quite sure why you may want to do this, but if you were interested, you could certainly take a look at that. Let's take a look at writing to files. You need to understand there's a difference between W and A. Write is a write. It will override our existing file, whereas append will append to the very end. So if I were to do it with open presidents for reading purposes as F and do f.write Lincoln. Okay, well, that's great. First of all, it says that it's not writable because we opened this file for reading purposes. So I need to go and copy and paste this and change this R to a W, or at least R+. So if I do that, then pretty much I destroyed that list. If you were to take a look, and let's in fact take a look at it. Where's presidents? There it is. Notice that Washington, everybody else was wiped out because we overwrote them with Lincoln. Let me go back and run this code that I had, which was writing it to the file. Way up here, where was it? R+, there you go. So I'm going to copy and paste that down below. And that should have recreated our file. We can verify that. Nope, I did something wrong here again. What is P? Oh, I probably messed up P at some point here too. So let me go ahead and write P and then or execute P and then do that, and that should take care of it. Great, so we now have it again. What I can do, I can copy and paste this code. Let me make a note here. This overwrites the file. And this one appends to the end. So if I come over here and just change this W to an A and run it, and then take a look at the presidents, Lincoln should have been added to the very end. There he is. So an append is going to be frequently what you really want to use, as opposed to doing a W. Now sometimes you do need the W, goes without saying. All right, that's all I wanted to cover for files. Thank you for watching. As always, been a great audience, and please share with loved ones and friends if you're enjoying these videos. I know that there are errors that happen here and there. I do this on purpose. I don't want it to be perfectly clean because I want the audience to know that things do go wrong. So I don't polish it up completely. It's pretty polished, but I don't polish it up completely on purpose. So you get used to seeing the errors too and how to handle them. See you in the next video.